Welcome to the Modern Work Mentor podcast. I'm Daryl as a service, and I'm going to be talking however I feel like it. This is not a weekly show. This is just thoughts as they come, and no bling, no blitz. Just me talking about stuff, and I might throw things over the top occasionally to illustrate the point. What is this podcast all about? Well, I am looking to just again share my thoughts on things as I'm working on them. Authentic stuff, so that it can't be confused with the real bright and shiny AI stuff that might be generated for you. Look, as I'm working on something, I am looking to release a Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot workshop that I'll be running live. And so as I'm working on this content, of course, I get inspired. I'm sharing some thoughts, writing them down, and I wanted to share just a few initial things in this first episode about what I am thinking through as I talk about this. And I wanted to start with 3 principles around using Microsoft 365 Copilot. Let's pause for a bit, though. Why do I keep saying this full name? Let's just say that the marketing has been fun, confusing. As we talk about Copilot in its short form, maybe we call it Microsoft Copilot sometimes too. People who are listening in think, "Oh, I can't do that. What you're talking about here, I don't see that in my experience." So I've kind of resolved in myself to talk about the product in full initially, so that you're really clear on what I'm talking about. Microsoft 365 Copilot in this episode. And then I might abbreviate to that. And I will be very clear and pause about when I'm talking about something else. I do this partly for your sanity, but also for mine, because as you're asking questions, then you'll be clear on what I'm talking about. And I hopefully don't have to explain myself again in the comments section below, but probably will. That's okay. Let's meet you there and have a chat. This episode is going to be about the 3 primary principles for using Microsoft 365 Copilot. Sure, I'm going to come up with more as I go, but I think there's a really core one that I want to get across. I think this is true of all AI, generative AI, and where AI is helping us in our productivity at the moment. We know Microsoft's racing off with all kinds of ideas. They're still trying to definitely encourage adoption around the personalized experience of Microsoft 365 Copilot, and also the free experience, which we will call Microsoft Copilot, which you can get in various places. And that's all about whether you can access your work information and have those enterprise protections, or whether you're using the free version and it's just using the web as a source. There's all sorts of things in between that Microsoft are creating for us to be able to access and use Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, as we need it on demand. Maybe, what was it called? Pay-as-you-go, the pay-as-you-go scheme, where you can, as an organization, set it up and allow it to consume credits as it uses certain corners of the Microsoft 365 Copilot universe, and various other options as well too. I think the other one was you could self-purchase if your organization has enabled you to do so. That if you want to spend the money and you want to provide yourself with that tool, a bit like when I provide myself with a laptop or a keyboard or a mouse because I just like to use some of my own gear, maybe that's an option that your organization has given you. Right. So there's lots of thoughts there already, and I'm sure I'll have to explain more as I go, but I want to keep these episodes reasonably short so I can quickly get them out there and also continue to drop them when I feel like it. 3 primary principles for productivity with Microsoft 365 Copilot. Look, the first thing about when we're using any kind of AI that requires prompts, where you are having a conversation with within the chat experience, you are coming with a question, you're coming with some instructions, and if you have got into this mode of thinking about using Copilot like it is an assistant, a real person, yet you will be giving your instructions clearly, descriptively, But in reality, when we talk to people and we're given instructions, it is a back and forth conversation, especially at the beginning when they're beginning to learn about us, we're beginning to learn about them. We get a shared understanding of how we both communicate. This prompt that we are giving, we are prompting Copilot. And I had, I guess, trouble adopting this word prompt because maybe I didn't go through school at the same time as when we referred to getting prompts from our teachers around what essay we might need to write. They would give us a prompt and give us some ideas and thoughts, and we'd go away and create this piece of work that we would get marked and graded on. So the word prompt wasn't really in my vocab so much. As it came in, as we're talking about Copilot, certainly makes sense. I'm prompting Copilot, and that could be any Copilot right now, or any AI, any generative AI, with some words, some instructions, some context. The more that I describe and give it, the better the results in that first response. What is my first principle here? It is that you prompt Copilot and Copilot prompts you in response. What? Now, the reason that I phrase this way is that, yes, our initial instruction, or potentially even our replies as we have this back and forth with generative AI, is I'm prompting it back. I'm saying, here, no, refine that. No, you've got to do better. Here's some more context. This is what I was looking for. Here's some examples. But the content that comes back in response from generative AI, and I'm talking about Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot this time, is that it's prompting me. What I'm getting across here is that the response is not perfect. It is not, in fact, I feel, not meant to be copied, pasted, and dropped into something without checking, without even critically evaluating or thinking about it, that you might, at a glance go, good enough, and throw that into wherever you're going to use it. Or potentially, if you're using Microsoft 365 Copilot, that you might be using this chat experience directly within the app. My point, and I'll clarify again as I get deeper into this puddle, is you're prompting Copilot, right, with your instructions, and what Copilot comes back with prompts you. What do I mean? It means that you take what Copilot gives back to you and you complete it. It's a prompt back to you to take it, make it your own, make a few changes, add to it, and make it that final work or whatever you're using it for to be yours. And you will actually need to do this because sometimes the tone's not great. Maybe it doesn't sound anything like you. Maybe the information needs to be checked, and that's another point that we'll get to, another principle. But hopefully I'm making it clear that when you prompt Copilot and it comes back with a response, that's a prompt to you to take it and make it your own. So that's my first principle. The next principle is test, or rather check all things. We know this because it's in the very light gray text underneath the response from Copilot. This is generated by AI. Please check it. There might be some mistakes. It's like a disclaimer on the side of a cigarette packet. And I bring that up. But it's like it's right there just to make sure. It's your responsibility to check the content as it comes back. And this is true. You've got to check to whether it makes sense. Did it provide sources for you to go through and check where this information was coming from? So often it looks great. It comes back because it's so eloquent and sensible. It is a based on a large language model that can, and it is modeled off good examples of writing. But just because it sounds right doesn't mean that it's necessarily correct. And we definitely know, this has been said many times, this concept of hallucinations. Let's just say that it is Copilot finding some bits and pieces and facts in what you've asked for, and it comes back and shapes that to be a coherent sentence, coherent paragraph that may or may not reflect reality or facts. So you do have to check all things. And if you're doing something in a hurry, I recommend you slow down. Definitely, we've got some good examples of where people have taken that content, not really checked it, thrown it out there, and they have committed to certain facts that are not really facts, they're made up. Or they've committed to tasks and action items from a meeting when that potentially wasn't actually what was agreed. So, yeah, be careful. Check all things. Could go deeper into that. We're certainly going to do that in the Copilot workshop that I'll be running live. And the last one, I kind of hinted to this in terms of Copilot being a conversation. It is a conversation. Ask your follow-up questions. Give additional details and instructions. Sure, if you're going to get super amazing and eloquent and fluent in talking to generative AI, you might get to that point where you can craft the most beautiful prompt, engineer, as they say, the most beautiful prompt that gets your information across to Copilot, and it comes back almost in one hit, like a hole in one. Yes, you got it right. Perfect. I've read through it. It looks good, sounds good. It's great. Man, I don't even need to touch it, but you should put your own voice in there. It's a maybe you're as good as that. I would say that, actually I am saying that it is a conversation. I have no problem having a back and forth to make sure that we are getting the right understanding and meaning so that I can get the result that I'm after or the information that I'm looking for so that I've got my starting point to carry on that work. It's done, 80% of the work for me, and now it's up to me to work on that last 20% to make it my own and polish it up. It's a conversation for me. I am not looking to try and get a perfect prompt at the beginning. Just like when I talk to a person, that if I'm asking them for help, giving them some instructions, I will do my best to pull that together and try and get it right in one go. In a personal experience, stepping aside, but it's good to tell stories. When you work with teams that work around the world, and you are relying on a team that might be literally on the other side of the planet. Some of you might know I'm based in Auckland, New Zealand, and on the other side of the planet might be the design team or someone else that's creating something for me. And definitely from personal experience, if you don't take the time to explain what you want and maybe give some examples and show things about where they are, what they should look like, what they should be, and you have to wait the full kind of business day on the other side of the planet, content comes back, maybe it needs a lot more work. And it's more critical maybe in a workflow like that if you're trying to get back to your client with this piece of content and it's not quite right. So that's a little story in terms of, it does help to try and do your best to give good instructions initially, but I think it's still a conversation too. So it's okay, especially with Copilot, because it comes back so quickly. Generative AI can come back so quickly with its responses that it's perfectly fine to ask your follow-up questions to help negotiate meaning. And I did attend a conference recently, and I wish I could remember the speaker's name. I might try and find a way of putting that in the description and looking it up. But she gave this amazing tip, which was quite cool for those of us who, enjoy getting these tips around writing prompts. And it was that at the end of her prompt, she would put something like, don't respond to me immediately with the answer. Continue to ask me questions until you're 80 to 90% sure that you understand what I want. And what I like about that is it flips the script in the sense that it is a conversation, but now Copilot is driving it and it is asking questions. Is this what you're after? Here are some options. You might want to go down this path, this path, this path in terms of options. So Copilot's asking that back of me. I'm answering it. And then as we negotiate that meeting, then Copilot comes back with something that is far closer to what I might be after. Now, I think that's a really good approach in a conversation. That sometimes when I'm asking or discovering or trying to find things out in topics that I've got no experience in or very little, when I'm going through this research myself and not using AI tools, then I discover things as I go, of course. And I dig a little deeper as I find out a little more on the topic. And in a lot of ways, I still want to go through that process for myself. When I get assistance from Copilot or any kind of generative AI to do this, then likewise, I might not know the questions to ask. I might not know the directions that this will be taken. And it's nice that with this little tip, as a way of being able to be interviewed by Copilot, that I could get the answer that I'm after. So let's wrap this up. Already too long. I want to try and keep these around 15 minutes, but all good. 3 principles. Our first principle was you prompt Copilot, then Copilot prompts you. In short, it's not finished. Take that content that Copilot's given back to you. That's your starting point. It might get you somewhere along the journey, but finish it for yourself. Second thing, check all things and make the time to do that. If you don't have the time, maybe you need to slow down a little and make that time, because there is high risk if you get it wrong. And in checking all things, you will actually start to use the results to learn as part of the journey and checking those sources. And third thing, that it is a conversation. It really is. And that is the easiest way to get into using generative AI, using Microsoft 365 Copilot to get your results, is as you have that back and forth conversation, you'll be negotiating, meaning you'll get closer to the results that you're after. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. This is going to be in New Zealand colloquialisms here, rough as guts. I am not about polish. I just want to have a conversation with you. And hopefully it has helped you think about a few things. If you like what you've heard, seen, watched, I don't know if I've splashed anything on the screen. I might do that in post. But if you have found this useful, then make your comments in the comments below. And don't expect massive things from me. we'll just create stuff together and quite authentically. All right. Catch you again soon. Bye for now.